Here's something nobody tells you about transformation. The moment you decide to change your life is not when the shift begins. The shift begins when you stop waiting for your external world to give you permission to feel differently. Most people are standing at the edge of a completely different timeline right now, and they don't even know it. They're one decision away from a reality that already exists in quantum probability, but they keep turning back because they're looking for proof before they leap. And that's the trap. You're not stuck because you lack clarity. You're not stuck because the universe isn't listening. You're stuck because you're trying to cross timelines while dragging the emotional gravity of your current reality with you. It's like trying to board a plane to another country while refusing to let go of the ground beneath your feet. The crossing requires release, and release requires trust in what hasn't shown up yet. There's a precise moment in every transformation where the old timeline starts to collapse and the new one hasn't fully formed. That's the void, that's the gap. And most people panic right there and run back to what's familiar, even if what's familiar is painful. If you've been feeling like something is about to break open in your life, if you sense that you're closer than ever but can't quite see how it all comes together, you're not imagining it. You're standing at the threshold, and this video exists to help you cross it without falling back. If you're drawn to content that doesn't just motivate, but actually rewires how you see reality, hit that subscribe button. Because what we explore here goes deeper than surface techniques. We're talking about the physics of consciousness, the architecture of identity, and the real mechanics of timeline jumping. So let me ask you this. What if the shift you've been waiting for has already started, and you've been too focused on the old world to notice? Here's the reframe that changes everything. Timelines don't shift when your circumstances change. Timelines shift when your internal state becomes so stable in a new frequency that the external world has no choice but to reorganize around it. Think of it this way. You are not moving through one fixed timeline, slowly altering your path. You are constantly selecting between infinite parallel timelines based on the vibrational signature you're emitting moment to moment. Every thought, every emotion, every micro-decision is a vote. And when enough votes accumulate in one direction, you lock into that timeline. The majority of people live on autopilot, casting the same votes over and over, which is why their reality feels stuck. They wake up hoping today will be different, but their nervous system is still broadcasting yesterday's frequency. Their body is still marinated in the emotional residue of past experiences. And so the timeline they keep selecting is just a variation of the one they've always known. The shift happens when you become so committed to the identity of the person living in your desired timeline that you start making choices from that version of yourself before the evidence shows up. That's not delusion. That's quantum selection. You're not pretending. You're pre-living. You're training your entire being to resonate with the reality you're calling in. And here's where it gets interesting. That question I opened with, about whether the shift has already started, it's not rhetorical. The shift is always happening. The question is whether you're aware enough to recognize it and coherent enough to sustain it. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. And if who you are being is still tethered to the old timeline, no amount of visualization or affirmation will get you across. Let me show you how this works at the level of your biology and your energy field. Your brain operates through a network of neurons that fire in patterns. These patterns form what neuroscientists call neural pathways, which are essentially grooves of repeated thought and behavior. Every time you think a familiar thought or react in a habitual way, you're deepening that groove. You're reinforcing the circuitry of who you've been. Now, here's what most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a lived experience and a vividly imagined one that's charged with authentic emotion. When you mentally rehearse being the version of yourself that already lives in the desired timeline, and you do it with such emotional intensity that your body believes it's happening now, your brain starts building new neural pathways. It starts wiring you for that reality. But here's the catch. If you imagine it for 5 minutes and then spend the rest of your day reacting from your old patterns, you're just creating noise, you're sending mixed signals, The new pathways don't get strong enough to override the old ones. Dr. Joe Dispenza has documented this extensively in his research on neuroplasticity and transformation. He found that when people enter deep meditative states and sustain elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, or love without any external cause, their brainwave patterns shift. They move out of high beta, which is stress and survival mode, into alpha and theta, which are the states where the subconscious mind becomes programmable. In those states, the body stops living in the past and starts living in the future. But it's not just about the brain. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that's thousands of times stronger than your brain's. When your heart and brain are in coherence, meaning they're operating in synchronized rhythm, you emit a clear, powerful signal into the quantum field. That signal is your request. That signal is your vote for which timeline you're selecting. Think of it like tuning a radio. If your dial is wobbling between stations, you get static. But when you lock into one frequency and hold it there, you get a clear broadcast. The quantum field operates the same way. It can't deliver clarity if you're not emitting clarity. Many of us on this path already understand this intellectually. We've read the books, we've watched the videos, but understanding is not embodying. The crossing happens when your body becomes the evidence of the new timeline before your eyes see it. When your nervous system is so relaxed in the knowing that it's already done, that you stop checking for proof. You stop refreshing your bank account. You stop scanning your environment for signs. You just live as if it's inevitable. Because in quantum terms, it already is. The timeline where you have what you want, where you are who you're becoming, it's not in the future. It exists right now in a parallel dimension of possibility. Your job is not to chase it. Your job is to become the frequency that matches it. And when you do, reality rearranges itself to reflect that match. So let's talk about what keeps people from crossing. Because it's not what you think. The biggest mistake is not lack of desire. It's not even lack of action. It's energetic inconsistency. You set an intention in the morning. You visualize. You affirm. You feel good. And then someone cuts you off in traffic and you explode in rage. Then you check your phone and see something that triggers insecurity and you spiral into comparison. Then you open your email and see a bill and your stomach drops into scarcity. Every single one of those reactions is a vote for the old timeline. And if you're casting more votes for the old reality than the new one, you're not crossing. You're oscillating. You're standing at the threshold, stepping forward and then stepping back over and over again. Another mistake is spiritual bypassing disguised as high vibration. People think that to shift timelines, they need to be positive all the time, so they suppress their real feelings. They paste on affirmations over unprocessed trauma. They bypass the shadow work because it feels too heavy. But here's the truth. You can't cross timelines while dragging unresolved emotional baggage. The weight of it keeps you tethered. Real transformation requires facing what you've been avoiding. It requires feeling the grief, the anger, the fear, and letting it move through you instead of pretending it doesn't exist. Research in somatic psychology shows that the body keeps the score. Unprocessed emotions get stored in your tissues, in your fascia, in your nervous system. And as long as they're there, they're creating interference in your electromagnetic signal. You're trying to broadcast a new frequency, while the old one is still playing in the background. The third mistake is waiting for external validation before you fully commit. Waiting for a sign. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for conditions to be perfect. But the shift doesn't happen when conditions are perfect. The shift happens when you decide that regardless of conditions, you're going to hold the frequency of the new timeline. That's the crossing. That's the point of no return. And here's what I need you to understand, because this is where compassion becomes critical. If you've been struggling with this, if you felt like you keep getting close and then falling back, it's not because you're broken. It's not because you're not worthy. It's not because the universe is withholding from you. It's because you're working against millions of years of evolutionary programming. Your nervous system was designed to keep you safe, not to help you evolve. It was designed to keep you in the known, even if the known is limiting, because the known feels survivable. Every time you try to step into a new timeline, your nervous system interprets it as a threat. Not because it is one, but because it's unfamiliar. And unfamiliar equals danger in the language of your biology. So you're not failing. You're just up against a system that needs to be retrained. And retraining takes patience, repetition, and a lot of self-compassion. The people who successfully cross timelines are not the ones who never stumble. They're the ones who stumble and get back up faster. They're the ones who recognize the pattern, feel the pull of the old timeline, and consciously choose the new one anyway. If this message is landing, if you feel something shifting inside you as you listen to this, do me a favor. Hit that like button, not for the algorithm, though it helps, but as a symbolic gesture. A way of saying yes to the version of you that's ready to cross. Because every small act of alignment matters. Every micro decision in favor of the new timeline builds momentum. And right now, in this moment, you're not just watching a video. You're participating in your own transformation. The fact that you're still here, still listening, is evidence that part of you already knows it's time. So pause with me for a moment. I want you to ask yourself something, and I want you to answer it honestly, without judgment. When you imagine the version of yourself living in the timeline you desire, what does that person feel on a daily basis? Not what do they have? Not what do they do? What do they feel? Is it peace? Is it certainty? Is it freedom? Is it worthiness? And now ask yourself this: how often are you choosing to feel that way right now, in your current reality, without waiting for circumstances to change first? Because here's the truth that's hiding in plain sight. The version of you in that desired timeline didn't start feeling that way because everything fell into place. Everything fell into place because they started feeling that way first. They became the frequency, and the frequency attracted the form. So if you're waiting for the form to show up before you allow yourself to feel the frequency, you've got it backwards. And that's not a criticism. That's just the missing piece. The piece that, once you see it, changes everything. And that original question I asked, about whether you're missing the shift, here's the answer. The shift is happening every time you choose the frequency over the form. Every single time. So what does this look like in practice? How do you actually train your system to hold a new frequency and lock into a new timeline? It starts with daily identity work. Not once in a while. Not when you feel inspired. Daily. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you engage with the external world, you spend time becoming the person who lives in the desired timeline. You sit quietly. You close your eyes. And you ask yourself, who am I in that reality? How do I move? How do I speak? How do I respond to challenges? You don't visualize the things you want. You embody the identity that already has them. You feel it in your body. You let your nervous system experience it as real. 5 minutes of this, done with full presence and authentic emotion, creates more momentum than 5 hours of anxious planning. The second practice is emotional coherence training. Throughout your day, you catch yourself when you slip into old emotional patterns. When you feel scarcity, you pause. When you feel doubt, you pause. And instead of believing the feeling, you witness it. You say, that's the old timeline trying to pull me back. And then you consciously choose the emotion of the new timeline. Maybe it's trust, maybe it's excitement, maybe it's calm knowing. You don't force it, you allow it. You give yourself permission to feel it, even though nothing external has changed yet. The third practice is decision-making from the future self. Every choice you make, no matter how small, ask yourself, would the version of me living in the desired timeline make this choice? Would they eat this? Would they say yes to this? Would they spend their time this way? And then you align. Not perfectly, but consistently. Because consistency is what wires the new neural pathways. Consistency is what shifts your baseline frequency. People who've been applying this work, people in our community who've committed to this level of internal alignment, they're the ones reporting synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, relationships shifting, financial breakthroughs. Not because they manifested harder, because they became congruent. And when you're congruent, When your inside matches your desired outside, the quantum field responds. Now, I want to share something with you. I created the trail as a living extension of everything I share in this channel. It's not a course or a theory. It's a practical, day-by-day journey to reprogram your identity and hold your new frequency in real life. I designed it to walk with you through that moment when you've already understood the truth, but now need to integrate it, live it, embody it. If this message resonates with you, you'll find the link in the description. It's the natural next step on your path of expansion. And let me be real with you about something that almost nobody talks about in this space. You're going to have days where you forget. Days where the old timeline feels so real and so heavy that you can't remember why you ever believed in the new one. You're going to react from fear. You're going to doubt. You're going to look around at your current circumstances and think, nothing is changing. I've been doing the work and nothing is different. And in those moments, you're going to want to quit. You're going to want to go back to living unconsciously because at least that didn't require so much awareness. But here's what I need you to remember. Those moments are not evidence that it's not working. They're evidence that it is. Because the old timeline doesn't collapse quietly. It fights. It surges. It tries to convince you that it's the only reality available. And the fact that you're aware of the pattern, the fact that you can see yourself slipping, that's progress. That's consciousness. The people who successfully cross timelines, those of us who are committed to this path, we don't avoid the falls. We shorten the recovery time. We don't beat ourselves up for slipping. We acknowledge it, recalibrate, and choose again. Faster. That's the skill, not perfection. Speed of return. Because every time you choose again, you're proving to your nervous system that this time is different. That this time you're not abandoning yourself halfway through. That this time you're crossing all the way. So we're coming to the end of this journey together, and I want to leave you with something you can take into your life right now. Something that marks this moment as the moment you decided to stop hovering and start crossing. I want you to go down to the comments and share from your heart. It could be the identity you're choosing to embody starting today. It could be something you learned in this video that clicked for you and will change how you move forward. It could be the one practice you're committing to integrate into your daily life. Or it could be a personal experience that shows how what we talked about connects to what you're actually living. Don't write what you think you should say. Write what actually moved inside you. Because when you speak it, you anchor it. And when you anchor it, it becomes part of your new frequency. And remember that question from the beginning about whether you're missing the shift. You're not missing it anymore. The shift is happening right now. It happened the moment you decided to stop waiting for permission and start being the frequency. That's the crossing. And you just took it. Here's the identity you carry forward from this moment on. You are not someone trying to change. You are someone who is already changing. Every conscious breath is evidence. Every redirected thought is evidence. Every emotion you choose instead of default to is evidence. The timeline shift didn't start when you saw results. It started when you committed to holding the frequency without needing them. That's who you are now. Someone who doesn't wait for the external world to give permission to feel differently. Someone who understands that crossing timelines is a daily practice, not a one-time event. And if this vision resonates with your path, if you feel like you belong in this space where we honor depth, consciousness, and real practice, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Because what we share here doesn't end with one video. It's an ongoing journey. Each new piece of content is another step deeper into this process of expansion and internal reconfiguration. We are a community of people who decided to stop living on autopilot and start creating from consciousness. And you're already part of this. I'll see you in the next video because your new timeline is waiting. And now you have the map to get there.